I got invited to Rep Room. What? Like, this is crazy. Hi guys, welcome to this video. I'm making a video that I never ever thought that I would be able to make, because I still cannot believe this happened. But as you can tell by the title, I met Taylor freaking Swift. Like, what the heck? For anyone that knows me, and well, to be honest, for anyone that doesn't know me or just knows of me from school, like friends of friends, I have always been the Taylor Swift girl, and I've never even cared. I've never been like, oh my god, like embarrassed. Like, I literally owned it. I didn't care. Fearless. That's so cringe. Anyway, so for the fact that this happened is still just mind-blowing. Like, if I could do like effects, I would do like an explosion in my head. I mean, I'm still not over it because I still mention it every single day of my life. I show the picture to as many people as I can, so why not talk to a camera and tell more people who probably don't care. So I went to both Reputation Stadium tours in Manchester. I went on the Friday with my sister and my friend Hannah, and I went on the Saturday, which is when I met Taylor, with one of my best friends, Alice. Alice is the reason that I like Taylor Swift. She used to like link me song suggestions on MSN. Yeah, MSN, we're going way back. So that was how I started listening to Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift. It sounds weird when I say her full name. I'm just so used to saying Taylor. So we're talking like end of 2008, early 2009 is when I started really investing my life into Taylor Swift, you could say. Me and Alice went to the Fearless tour together in 2009 in Manchester. That was the first concert I saw of Taylor, and the first concert me and Alice went to together. So it was really nice that we got to go to a Reputation tour together, especially because there was so much emphasis on this being for fans that stayed. So yeah, we're just watching the show. Well, I say watching, screaming, dancing, going crazy, all that fun stuff. So the Delicate speech starts playing, and this is when, you know, your alarm bells are going off, like, right, this is where we need to start making a move. We know that Delicate means that she goes to the B stage. She goes out on like her freaking fairy godmother typed cage and goes over the sky. So I just wanted to be close, basically, to as close as possible in a massive stadium, because obviously it's the first stadium, so I'm used to more intimate venues where you can see the features on her face rather than her being like a tiny doll on stage. So we're walking to the B stage and I'm like, oh my god, that is Andrea Swift. Andrea is Taylor's mum. And she kind of gets swarmed at concert, and people kind of just like whoosh. As soon as they see Andrea, whoosh, like. From my experience, I've just never dared go over to her because I didn't want to be like up in her grill. So I've always just let her be. But this time it was just, there was something so different about it. She was just by herself. I think she was basically given Rep Room to two other girls at that time. So we kind of just carried on walking. We was like dancing, carried on watching Taylor. When she turned around and finished speaking to the girls, we just went over and we was like, oh my god, hi Andrea, it's so nice to meet you. I wanted to come over and say hi. I was like, can I have a hug? And she was like, of course. So she gave me a hug. She gave Alice a hug. So me and Alice were wearing our Fearless t-shirts, and Andrea kind of like, she does like a double glance and she's like, oh my gosh, where did you get those shirts? And I was like, oh, we like came to the tour together in Manchester in 2009. And she was like, you guys have really been here all that time? Like, of course, like we love her so much. She was like, so surely you guys have met her before? And I was like, this is where, as like a die-hard Swiftie, you literally, like, I had goosebumps like just thinking about it now. You read stories about where Andrea approaches people and she's like, I have a question, have you ever met Taylor? And you just know that that's the approach to you being invited to go and meet her. So the second she was like, surely you guys have met her before? And I was like, no, oh my god, no, I've never met her. She was like, you promised me you've never met Taylor. And this is, I'm literally sobbing. I'm like, oh, I've never met her. And I like held my hands out to show her how much I was shaking, because I just couldn't believe this was happening. Because like I said, you read about it, I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. It sounds so dramatic, but it's true. And then Andrea was like, the wait is over. You're finally meeting Taylor, you're going to Rep Room. And I almost collapsed. I don't care how dramatic that is, I almost dropped dead on that spot. I just burst into tears. I was like, thank you so much. And I couldn't even speak. But Alice, the little lifesaver that she was like, Andrea, thank you so much. Like, you don't know how much this means to her, you don't know how much this means to us. Like, thank you so much. We got like the wristband and we got like the Rep Room pass. Insert pic here. How do YouTubers do it? I don't know. And then the last thing she said before she left, she was like, great job with the shirts, girls, like, you really deserve it. So that was the whole experience of getting rep room by Andrea, and I still cannot believe that happened. Everything after that was a total blur. I saw Camila Cabello's mum and I ran over. All I can describe it as being like when you're drunk and you kind of run around, you're like uncontrollable. It's like, oh my gosh, you're Camila's mum. Her mum was lovely. She kind of probably thought I was psycho, but I was still on this like crazy high from being told that I was meeting Taylor. It was all kind of a daze for at least a solid 2, 3, 4 songs. I just couldn't believe it. Sobbed my eyes out through Long Live. So yeah, we watched the rest of the show. On our paper it tells you where to meet after the show, and it's like immediately go to section 1. I think we were like 126 or something. My friend was also at the concert and I messaged her, I was like, do you have any concealer? Do you have any perfume? Do you have any powder? I'd had like a big spot on my chin that I remember physically standing in front of the mirror before I left being like, don't need concealer, it's not like I'm meeting Taylor or anything. And we went and we sat in the section that we had to meet, and then we walked to like rep room. I just had to leave our bags on the side and we could take our phones in. There was like a full table of pizza, drinks. Couldn't eat any pizza because 1, I felt sick to my stomach with nerves and excitement. 2, I was not risking having a slice of pizza in my mouth for the most important photo of my life. So I ditched the pizza. Alice on the other hand, she was like eating it. Alice loves food, like she was living it. Yeah, there's like all her outfits in there from some of her videos. There was the iconic thrones. We've got a picture on the throne and we were just talking to everyone in the room. Everyone was so nice and you could sense the excitement from everyone. And then all of a sudden, like, her tour manager's like, right guys, can you put your phones away? And she literally just waltzes into the room and I literally was just like, she's there. How is she a real person? She's prettier in real life, if that's possible. She always looks flawless on pictures and she's stunning, but in real life she's like a human Barbie. She is gorgeous and she's so tall and slim and she was so bronze, she was so tan, and I was like, I'm gonna have to stand next to her and look like a piece of shit. So she comes in, she's like, hi guys. She didn't sound like that, like, at all, but you know, she said hello. Yeah, I was like in the line, I am freaking out. Like, I was like almost crying and Alice is like, pull it together girl, you don't want to ruin your photo, you've waited this for so long, you don't want your photo to be crying. And I was like, yes, I need this pep talk. She's like, right, next up. And then I'm gonna open the curtain and she's, again, I was like, and she stood there with like her arms literally waiting for you to just like run into, and I'm like slow-mo running into her arm and gave her like the biggest freaking hug. I didn't want to let go and she doesn't even let go of you. She holds on for as long as you want to hold on. And I was like, I know this sounds so cliche, but I've waited 10 years for this. And she was like, oh my god, like thank you so much for like staying, thank you for your support. The thing is, when you don't expect that you're gonna meet her, like your mind goes blank. Like I couldn't even think straight. I couldn't, even in the line I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna ask her. What do I say? What do I say? There were so many things that you kind of wish that you'd said. You've helped me through this, you've helped me through that, which is really nice and sentimental, but it was also nice at the same time to just have just a casual conversation with her. And because we had our Fearless t-shirts on, she was laughing at herself on the t-shirt. Oh my god, she's like, these are so old, look how young I am. She was like, how old are you guys? And we were like, oh, we're 14. And then she was like, well, how old are you guys now? And we were like 23. And she was like, she was so like shocked that we'd been there so long. And I think she is with a lot of fans. Like, I don't know why she doesn't think that we're gonna like stand by her ass the whole time, because we are. And then we were like, yeah, Justin Bieber opened for you and he had a broken leg. And she like genuinely lets out this like cackle. She's like, oh my god. She's like, I forgot about Justin's broken leg. That made her realise how long we'd been fans, and she was just like kind of like, wow, like it's crazy that you've been here all that time. We just said how much we loved the show. It just goes so quickly. You just blank out. You don't really remember what happens. I wish I did what a lot of people did and voice memoed what happened as soon as they left. But I was just crying after I left. It was crazy. So yeah, we got our picture. And then like Alice is like a dancer, she used to be a dancer, so she was like, oh my god, like your dancing is so good, like I loved your dancing, you're such a good dancer. And she was like, thank you so much for saying that. She's like, no one has ever told me that. And Alice was like, no, you were killing it girl. Like we were just chatting and chatting to the point where like her manager's like, right girls, like wrap it up, like we need to move on to the next person. And that's the nice thing, like Taylor doesn't rush you at all. She would want to be in that room with you for as long as possible if it wasn't for meeting other fans, and she genuinely wants to know what you have to say. Like, she stares, as weird as it sounds, she like stares, gives you like such intense eye contact and wants to know what you have to say. And yeah, like, she's just unreal. Tom and just like, wrap it up, girls. I gave her a hug, and then Alice gave her a hug again, and then I went in for another hug, and I was just like, oh, thank you so much, I love you so much. And then we got given our signed photos. And I kid you not, the second that I went around the corner and was out of sight, I burst into tears. Like, I was so overwhelmed. I think that's kind of when the what just happened hit me. There was two girls, like, I think they were just wondering who had met Taylor and knew that's where rep room was. And I was like sobbing, and one of them was like, have you just met Taylor? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, can I give you a hug? And I was like, yeah. I'm like sobbing in this random girl's arms. But yeah, that's what's so nice about Taylor Swift fans. Everyone is like so nice, and like most of the time genuinely happy that you've got to meet Taylor. And one of the best things is that we didn't have to queue in the tram line to get home. I saw a picture and I was like, how did people get home? The lines for that tram was crazy. We just waltzed on the tram, and I'm sat on the train station floor, and then we get the picture through, and I kind of like download it, and I'm like, glance at it, and I'm like, no, I don't want to look, I don't want to look. I was so worried that it was gonna be like not a great picture, but bless the souls, bless the Lord, it was an okay picture. Well, I say okay, like, I do love the picture, and it could, for me personally, it could have been better. I could have looked better, but I was sweaty and gross and looked like a 9-year-old in my t-shirt that I usually wear for bed. Taylor's so like lent in to me, and I'm just like, thank you so much. So yeah, that is the story how I met Taylor. I talk about it every single day of my life. Everyone's sick of it at work, but I've waited so long for this, and I'm so thankful and so happy that it happened. And if anyone's watching this who hasn't met her yet, I know it's not about meeting her at all, but you know, you're always going to cling on to the hope that you can meet someone that you look up to that much. And like, she stresses every show that she's determined to meet every single one of us. Like, I finally believe that, and I know it's different because I'm like, oh my god, yeah, I've met her, but I got to meet Taylor with my best friend who introduced me to her music like almost 9 years later. Like, it will happen. I hope you've enjoyed this video. That was my experience of meeting Taylor. If you've watched this video, congrats to you, because I've rambled on and on and on. If my house is burning down, I am saving this.